Hey moms, it's me, Queenie, and you are about to enjoy the Empowering Girl Mom Show. We're about to get started, so please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with your friends so that more moms know that we are here as a resource to support all of us in up-leveling motherhood. I look forward to joining you in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey moms, it's me, Queenie, and you are about to enjoy the Empowering Girl Mom Show. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Empowering Girl Mom Show. I'm your host, Queenie Brown, and boy, do we have a good one for you today. I'm excited about today's conversation because many of us women, we don't realize that there is an underlying culprit sometimes that could be affecting our mood, affecting our attitude, affecting our day. And so today we're going to go into that. I'm excited about our guest today, Dr. Alicia Claircius. She is a doctor of nursing. She's also a mom mogul who is all about creating generational wealth. And so we're going to be able to talk about a little bit of all of that today. But most importantly, she is going to help us understand our hormonal balance. Are you ready to get your hormones under control, moms? I know I am. So today, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Alicia Claircius. Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to participate in this and welcome me. And the warm welcome was great. So I really appreciate you having me on today's show.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hear about your wisdom around hormones. So, contrary to popular belief, I am about to turn 54 years old. Yes, 54. And I had my first child at the age of 43 and my second at the age of 46 after they told me back when I was 34 that I would never be a natural mom. So I'm excited about the conversation today because I really want to talk about menopause and the hormonal balance that goes awry both after you have kids and then also when you're going through that change. It impacts you in ways you don't realize. And so as a nurse, I wanted you to chime in and share some of your insights on that. But before we do that, ladies, make sure you have your pen and paper ready because Dr. Claircius is going to be giving us notes. I want you to be able to take those notes in and apply them to your life. Again, this journey is it's a cohort of sorts. We're locking arms together. We are recognizing that this journey is an experience that we get to take in every day as we allow what the speakers and the experts are sharing with us. We allow it to go in. We allow it to be implemented into our lives. And then by the end of this entire month, we will have the opportunity to talk about the testimonies. We will be able to see the impact that it's made in our lives. So be ready for your notes. Make sure you have your water. Take a sip when you need it. Keep your breathing going. Don't stop breathing because you know how we can tend to hold our breath sometimes. Keep breathing and allow what we share today to go in and create an impact. All right. So Dr. Claircius, can I call you Dr. Alicia? Which one do you prefer?
Either or. A
All
lot of
right.
people can't even pronounce the last name, so they just say Dr. C.
Dr. C. Okay, so we got 3 different names going. Well, I appreciate you so much for being here. So let's talk about hormonal balance. What do you want to say about that?
So it's so much I can say about it. So I'll probably start off with a story and just kind of lead from there because I know that you hinted on, kind of having kids. So there are many women that are unable to have kids. So they try to have the injections of hormones in there in order to create that balance so that they're able to conceive. There's
Mm-hmm.
also women doing IVF, trying to have that injection in their body, and they have to have multiple injections in order to participate in IVF, which can be a daunting task for them too. And sometimes it still ends up in, non-conception, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you have one, emotions of that woman that they're going through already. Two, you're having artificial emotions, we call it, because you have so many injections that are going into your body that these hormones are kind of, dysregulating your body.
Hmm.
For that, three, for those women who are, really not trying to get pregnant, maybe they've already had a baby and now their doctor may have put them on, conception to where they won't have any, kids. Like, the hormones. I've had one in my arm too, like post delivery, where they placed it was called an implant in your body in order for you not to have any more kids. It was like birth control.
Really?
Right. And that for me was a horrible experience. My emotions and hormones were all over the place. I was actually bleeding more than I was supposed to. And imagine this is in your arm, so you can't take it out.
Oh my
Right.
God.
It's not like a pill where you can just take and you can regulate it yourself. But because this was, in my arm, I was actually bleeding like 25 days out of the month, yeah, every month, and 5 days off. And I was just a mess. I said, can you just please take this out my arm? And they said, well, it takes your body a while to adjust to it. Give it at least 6 months.
Oh
So
my God.
imagine bleeding for 25 days for six
Oh
months,
my
every
God.
month. And it's just crazy already that you bleed for 1 week, right?
Right. That's
So,
already trauma.
right. So imagine the trauma of 25 days. So I've been through it personally myself. I do have 4 girls that, I've birthed with a vaginal birth. But with that too, like I was saying towards the hormones, the ladies that, try to go through the IVF, have contraceptive, or try to go through these artificial methods of having children, the emotions and the feelings that come along with that creates a huge imbalance in them. And
Hmm.
many times that imbalance doesn't go away for years,
Wow.
until that's actually regulated. So that's why too, it's important to either have a life coach or a therapist or a very supportive spouse. So imagine if the ladies don't have one of these 3 things, and say they're in a relationship in which they don't want to be in, with their spouse, or, their husband or boyfriend might not be there. Now they're adding a 5th emotion to them, right? And more
Hmm.
things just piling on top of, maybe they happen to work and, provide for themselves and maybe their other children. So
Hmm.
it's just so many things, that comes along with it, and so many hormones that has to be, regulated. So the advice that I give to that is, just you really have to find something that you love that keeps you grounded, because if not, the hormones will take over. And many times you might even seen in the news where women go to jail where they just couldn't, it was a hormonal issue, but they didn't attach it to that. They might have went to
Wow.
jail for, robbing a store, or doing something that they shouldn't have in the community. I've even seen one where they were, what is that? Where you run around nude in the community public. I forgot what the term that they
Indecent
call
exposure.
it. Decent exposure.
Oh
Yeah, but
my.
that's many times that's hormonal imbalances, within, women. So there's many things that can happen to women that causes them to do certain things, and sometimes they don't even know why. So women just break down and cry sometimes because that's that hormonal imbalance within themselves. Yes, I'm sure they feel sad, but it's also hormones.
Wow. Wow. So women, I don't mean to laugh. I just think about how women snap. We get to a point where that's all I can take and I can't take no more. And we don't realize it, that sometimes it's just because there's a chemical imbalance going on the inside of your body. And
Correct.
so how do you fix that? How do you mitigate it? What do we do as moms? Because you think about it, our lives, we go through puberty. That's the first injection of hormones. And then
Mhm.
we deal with trauma through life, drama and all the stuff that comes with it. And then we go through childbirth, which is another injection. How do you balance it? And then you come into menopause.
Mhm.
There's so many different aspects of it. As a woman, how do you manage it?
So I personally don't believe that it's a thing that you can fix per se. I think you can maintain it and learn your body and yourself and learn how to cope with some of those things. So if you notice that you're a little bit more cranky, today, then you say, okay, I might be having a imbalance today. Maybe a lot of things are just crashing down and you're, perhaps in your feelings, but women are more feeling, and
Hmm.
regulate our hormones than men are. So when we feel some type of way, it's usually related to our hormones, related to the situation.
Mm,
So we have to just, like I said, find that thing that we go to find peace. Some women do yoga, some people work out, some people do meditation. Whatever it is, you still don't want to overdo it, right? Because
mm,
then every little thing, if you're just, okay, I just can't take this today, then you run to the gym, that's still not solving the issue.
mhm,
So you have to be able to learn how to calm your body, calm yourself when you feel like you feel like this fire within you and this pressure. And some women get heart palpitations, along with it. You have to find a way to calm that down.
mm,
Yes, of course, with the medical field, I even prescribe medication, as a practitioner. But to me personally, I do like natural remedies, but medication that we prescribe, like Western medication, it's not going to fix the issue. It will solve it, temporarily.
mhm,
But all of what I recommend is internal healing for
mm,
those things. So those things can be even deeply rooted into something else. Maybe you had a trigger from your past that is causing you to feel some type of way in that moment and situation. Maybe that hormonal balance that you had was a trigger back from when you were in puberty. When you were like a preteen and 12, 13, maybe you went through something. Some women
mhm,
I've heard they've been battered, they've had sexual abuse, when they were 11, 12,
mhm,
and now they're dealing with these same traumas as their woman, and they've developed and they've never dealt with those traumas in the past, which is just a ultimate irregulation. So that whole irregulation that you had back when you were in puberty has now followed you to womanhood.
wow. So you call that an irregulation. And so the trauma that you experience early in life can kick off a hormonal imbalance that lasts throughout your adulthood?
So our DNA, you gotta think our bodies, when you give birth, to your children and they come out looking like you, that's your DNA that's embedded in you.
Right.
Right? You're not going to come out looking like, your neighbor or someone else. So
Right.
imagine all of that that's embedded in you. So
Mhm.
imagine even it goes as deep as your family's trauma. So even if that trauma is not dealt with, in your family, that DNA carries with you. Just like
Mm,
how you look and act and feel, like your parents. Some people's parents may have passed before they were even born, but they still mimic some of the things that they've done, even though they've never seen,
yeah.
their parents do things. So imagine if your body can hold on to that. Imagine it holding on to that undealt with trauma and imbalance of hormones back from puberty that
Mm,
now you've never dealt with, and now it's just kind of stuck and coded into your body. So
mm,
that's not dealt with. That passes now, many times to your children who you give
yeah.
birth to.
It's funny you say that. Just yesterday, I was talking about the fact that we existed inside our grandmother's womb when our mothers were born.
Hmm.
So the trauma, the whatever it was that grandma dealt with, your mother was dealing with it, and so were you. All of you are bathing in that same sauce of trauma.
Yes, yes,
And then we come to life and then we have our own version of it. And so we get to pay attention to the fact that we're passing down generational legacies of trauma as
correct.
well, and we get to break that pattern, but you can't break it if you don't see it and if you don't recognize that it even exists.
Mhm.
So what do you recommend? You said natural remedies to help balance. What would you suggest as a natural remedy?
So some of the natural remedies are kind of like, herbs. Personally, I'll do like oils as well. Some people like, like the incense and the oils. Peppermint helps with easing the mind. Sometimes if you use that peppermint oil, I'm a big advocate for Young Living. I'm not a um what do you call that, like a partner or
Distributor.
anything of it,
Okay.
yeah, but I do purchase their oils because they say that they're more of the on the natural side, because some of the other oils they can be
Mhm.
prefabricated, big
Right.
factories, whatever. But
Hmm.
I use some of that peppermint too above like the temples, or they say like behind your ears, to kind of open up some of your energy channels, and
Hmm.
also open up your mind. That peppermint also eases your mind too, and it helps with opening up your nasal passageways and everything else within your body, so that helps. Lemon helps. also with some of that. Some women that like to drink, the lemon water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big advocate of that. I know that some people have used the what is this? It's like a vinegar,
Apple
apple
cider?
cider vinegar, right? They've used apple cider vinegar with the water and the lemon. Now I don't advocate that you use it too much because too much of anything can cause, issues too.
Mm-hmm.
So just a spoon, a day can help with some of that.
Did you
But
say a
yeah,
teaspoon or a tablespoon?
teaspoon.
A teaspoon. Okay.
Yes. But I can also recommend, because I know that we'll, have a tip sheet together. I can
Mm-hmm.
also put some of those natural remedies on there for the women.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That would be helpful. And I'm glad you mentioned essential oils. I absolutely love essential oils. And a lot of women don't realize how impactful they really are. Like you think it's just a smell, but
Mhm.
they're not perfume. They actually provide a biochemical reaction inside your body. Your body is trained to react to essential oils. So whether you believe it or not, when you are breathing in lavender, it's calming chemically, it's calming your body. When you
Right.
breathe in chamomile, it's chemically calming and it's helping to do what the medicine is designed to do. We got to remember that God created plant medicine for us.
Mhm.
And that's what
Correct.
most of the pharmaceuticals were based upon, the actual plants. But you
Mhm.
can't make money off of a plant. You gotta
Yep.
take the chemical compound to create the product that you can sell, and that's what our medical system is based on. So go
That's
back to
that's
the
a whole nother conversation.
right. We can go there though. Because moms need to understand a lot of the stuff that we do in our country and even in the world, but
Mhm.
specifically in this American culture, we are programmed. We're programmed to believe certain things, and it's often driven by marketing, which is driven by a desire for money. And so, our health is not something we want to play with where that's concerned. Why would I want to take a chemical when I can take a plant?
Mhm.
You
So
know?
I'll touch on that too, because I know sometimes this is controversial, but
Mm-hmm.
I do believe too, like I like holistic over medication. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I prescribe both depending on the person's mindset, because some people don't believe in holistic and some
Right.
people truly believe in holistic. But or either they're in that in-between spot where they're trying to get used to holistic, but they're still in the Western side.
Right.
Oh, but my personal belief on the Western medicine is that it does have a lot of chemicals. As you see, many of the advertisement on TVs, take this medicine, it will help you with this, this, and that. And then, the disclaimer comes after that.
Girl.
But you might die along the way, and the feet
Right.
might fall off and your legs are,
Right.
they have
Your
all of
teeth
this.
turn green, your eyebrows grow together, then curl up on you. Stuff falls off. You might have a limp.
Right, right.
Oh, but you don't have that symptom anymore.
Right, exactly. So now you have to prescribe another pill to take care of the rest of those symptoms that they gave you.
That part.
So, yeah, natural is the way to go. I know that we've been led to think that it wasn't, but
Mhm.
personally, I personally believe, and it's just my belief. It doesn't have to be set in stone for anyone, but I personally believe that holistic is the way to go.
Mhm. Well, the way that I see it is there was a creator that created us, and he put us on this planet with everything we would need to sustain life and to thrive, including medicine. And unfortunately, we
Mhm.
again have been programmed to discount that. It doesn't work fast enough. It doesn't make me feel what I need to feel, how the way that I'm expecting it to, because it doesn't follow the modern medical protocol. But the truth is, if you don't want the side effects, if you don't want this other symptoms to show up, just use the plant.
Mhm.
That's what it's for. That's why God put them there. So
Mhm.
anyway, I'm grateful that you shared that, and I do look forward to seeing what you put together for us. So we talked about a tip sheet. We wanted to offer something free as a gift to our audience. Tell us about the tip sheet that you're putting together for us.
Okay, so the tip sheet is going to be 10 tips to create hormonal balance within your body. And with that sheet that, comes free to anyone that, goes to that page. it's going to include those tips to kind of neutralize your body so that you won't necessarily, have these imbalances, and perhaps it's attached to those feelings too. So you won't have these feelings of imbalance. One thing too that I advocate is, mental clarity. Like I said, peppermint helps with that. But the 10 tips will help even with, the clearing of your mind, the mental clarity of your mind, body, and just the holistic, part of yourself. Like I said, I have my library, I wish I could show you guys, but like my office is filled with books. And within, my bookshelves, I have many books on, holistic care. So I'll definitely share with you guys. It'll probably be more than 10 tips that I'll give you guys, but
We appreciate it.
yeah, I will definitely include all of that for you guys.
So then also, how do we apply this to supporting our daughters? How would you recommend, or how do you currently implement that, helping them manage their own emotional balance?
So my daughters, um, to start off, my daughters, I've geared from, some of the Western things. So my daughters are all homeschooled for one. So I personally believe sometimes environment shapes things too and creates, some of those imbalances. So I have pulled them out of school, their home school. So now I'm able to teach them some of these imbalances, teach them about their body, teach them, about some of the herbs they can use. We actually have a whole garden in the back with, it's growing cucumbers, broccoli. We have carrots, papaya, um, okra. I mean, tomatoes. Like it's growing pretty well. And this was our first time even doing that.
Oh
You
my
know,
gosh. Isn't it
but
rewarding?
it's very rewarding.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
it's all about sowing those seeds and reaping the benefits, right?
Yes, yes. I grew a garden during COVID, and all the stuff you were growing, I was growing too, and a few others, except for the okra. But there's something to be said for having that natural food that you can go outside and pick from your garden and eat. It changed, the taste is different.
Mhm.
It's just more fulfilling. It's just, there's something powerful about that. And so you're teaching your daughters to utilize the herbs that you're growing in the garden. So which herbs are you growing?
Oregano, which is known to be a powerful herb as well. And many people will compound that and mix it, with oil so that you can take the drops on your tongue.
Hmm.
Even when we get sick, you just take oregano. And if you're getting like the slightest cough or a little mucus buildup, oregano helps with that. A natural remedy for cough medicine is honey, onion, garlic, and lemon combined, and you sit that together out and have it, like I think they call it pasteurized, for at least 3 to 4 days before taking it as like an elixir or cough syrup. So that's the natural remedy of a cough syrup
Hmm.
that you can use too for your bodies. But yeah, the way that I'm helping my daughters is by doing those things and also teaching them the way of, holistic care so that they can care for their bodies, and just really foster an environment where they can be inquisitive, or kind of ask questions, speak their mind on different things. Of course, if they go too far and it's just like, mom, I said, that we don't do. But
Hmm.
if it's something like, mom, I have a question about this, or I don't understand this, or we always talk to them and keep them in an environment where they're free to, speak and have those emotions. So they're not just, don't do this, don't do that, because that
Hmm.
too can cause a block within a child's life
Hmm.
if you're always keeping them in case, that I grew up in an environment where it was, do as I say type of thing. You
Hmm.
don't ask any
Hmm.
questions. And I think
Hmm.
many of us in our generation, we grew up in that type of
Hmm.
environment,
Hmm.
and that has caused, issues within my life that I had to deal with, because then when you go to the work field, you're just kind of like, okay, and you're afraid, you
Hmm.
have that being over you, and now that power is over you.
Yes,
Me personally, my power comes from God.
that's
Of course,
right.
you have to listen to, your the supervisors, but there's a way to be talked to as well. Sometimes supervisors go a little bit far and they degrade you so much, which causes a further imbalance on you. So if you
Hmm.
don't know all of this and you're in that work field, because many women, are now, back in the day they were in the home, but now they're in the workforce, you know, because they're single moms or they're having to help the husbands provide 50-50, then or they just like it, you know, they just like working, then that hormonal balance is still carrying with them in that work field. And sometimes it affects their work and their jobs if it's not dealt with.
Wow. So you touched on a lot. First, thank you for that home remedy. Y'all, did y'all get that note? And thank you for letting us know a quick way to manage getting sick. But you're right, when we don't realize how much all of that is impacting us every day. And so how about with your daughters? Um, and how old are they, first of all? How old are your daughters?
4, 5, 12, and one will be 15 this year.
Okay, so we have gone through puberty already. So how was that hormonally?
Well, the 4 and 5 year old, they're learning themselves, and you know we're kind of letting them speak. The 12-year-old, she hasn't quite yet hit to where she, you know, has a period or anything. Um, so she's, you know, it's coming.
Right.
But you know, the 15-year-old, she actually had her menstrual when she was like 9 or 10, and that was a huge, you know, like, what are we doing here? I'm like,
Right.
baby, she's like 9. What's
Right.
going on here? Now you have to teach them to carry pads around in the purse and to take care
Uh,
of themselves, like hygienically, what to do with that. But yeah, that the whole puberty thing is just, you know, they get into their feelings because
mm,
they don't know how to balance those emotions, and they have the young mindset. Their minds hasn't fully developed yet to know, okay, I'm having a moment here, or maybe, you know, I'm feeling something because of, you know, the imbalance that is occurring within my body.
mhm,
So we have to teach our daughters that there are going to be certain imbalances, and know that within our bodies, many people just tell us we have estrogen in our bodies, which isn't true. We have, you know, estrogen, progesterone, we have even testosterone in our bodies as females, just like men have testosterone and estrogen. So
mhm,
when, just a little tidbit, when they say that a man is a little bit too feminine, sometimes they'll say that he has a little bit too much estrogen in
mm,
in
mm,
his body, and same for women. So just going back to women, when you see like some of the masculine characteristics, like the sometimes women have like the beards or the mustaches, their
mhm,
testosterone might be a bit higher than normal. So then you have to give them injections of estrogen to kind of regulate some of those imbalances.
Is there a natural estrogen generator?
Yes, that's what I'll include on my sheet. It is a natural estrogen, kind of like generator, we call it, but it's not quite like the injections of estrogen, but it just takes a little bit longer, like you said, with natural medicine.
Mhm.
Many people kind of like the Amazon type of feeling where you just get it next day, right?
Right,
So
right,
that's
right.
why sometimes they'll choose the Western injections over the natural, because sometimes natural will take a little bit longer than
Mhm.
they would like. But yeah, there is a natural substitute of estrogen, they say, and I'll include that on the 10 tip sheet.
Okay. I'm so grateful that we're having this conversation. So what would you tell a mom who is um what would be the advice that you would give to a mom that has daughters, that is dealing with hormonal imbalances within herself and seeing it happen in her children? What advice would you give to her?
I would say just really educate yourself on what a hormonal balance is and what it looks like first, and then have that conversation. I'm sorry, my throat. Have that conversation with your daughters as well as to what that looks like and how they can uh, create an environment or a space where they can come to the mom and say, you know, hey, I'm feeling this way today. I'm not really sure if I'm having, you know, hormonal imbalance, or if this is just, you know, my feelings, or maybe something else is going on besides that, because everything's not linked to a hormonal imbalance.
Mhm.
But just foster that environment where you guys are open with each other, because community is the best thing. You can't learn anything by, you know, yourself. If there's always somebody that came before you and that perhaps went and did something before you, and we're learning from them, right? So
Right,
if we
right.
don't create that environment of community where we can open up to each other and talk to each other about these things, then we're never going to get anywhere.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's valuable, especially for them to understand that they're not alone, because that we've gone through it too, you know,
Right.
as oh goodness, as moms. I wanted to, one of the things that popped into my mind was biorhythms. I remember as a little girl, tracking my feelings every day, tracking how, am I sad? Am I lonely? Am I angry? Am I bitter? Or all the different feelings that you might feel. Um, there's a way where you can track them and see how you're feeling. And then over time, you'll start to notice that during this time of my cycle, I kind of feel real melancholy,
Mhm.
and then maybe I get a little frustrated at the end. I'm irritated because all the stuff that's going on in my body. But that way you can kind of see how the patterns flow in your own self and then also with your daughters. That just came up. I don't know if you ever have done that, or what
Yeah,
you think
so
about that.
we have an app called Dailyo, and that app has what you just talked about. It also has a notepad where you can talk and share your feelings, throughout the day. So it keeps track of your feelings, what you did, if you hiked, ran, bikes, whatever sports you did, if you did meditation or yoga.
Hmm.
And that app just it keeps track of you, and it reminds you every day, to put like a little. It has like sad face on up to angry face, so you can choose, which face you feel, how you feel that day, what you did that day, and um, that way it helps you keep track of. Okay, well, I see that I have more energy whenever I do this, or I see that when I do this task, maybe it makes me feel like this.
Hmm.
I mean, it goes deeper than that. That's just a whole nother subject. But sometimes when you do a certain task, it's linked to certain stress factors, which now that stress factor is causing that imbalance. So now you can kind of figure out, okay, I see that I hate details. I don't like doing paperwork. Whenever I do paperwork, and some people are stuck in those type of careers. Whenever I do paperwork, I feel like this, which causes stress, which causes this imbalance.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
then that's when you can start trying to put the pieces together and figure it out. Like, okay, well, and some people have shifted careers because of it. Maybe I need a career change,
Hmm.
because this isn't something that I really like to do. If it's causing this much stress and this much imbalance on me, every day I have to do this, then I need to do something that I love. I need to figure out what my hobby is and turn that hobby into an actual career, or find a career that really suits me so that I'm not having these high levels of stress, which causes that imbalance. Because we all know what stress can do to women. I mean, it is called Bell's palsy, which is the facial paralysis. It's
Wow.
caused heart palpitations, which a lot of women, it tends to lead to what they call broken heart syndrome, which is when the heart's kind of like upside down and just flutters, like this. And that's an actual syndrome. I've seen it, when I was in the hospital. I used to do cardiac cath shadows, and that was the first time I actually saw the broken heart syndrome when they injected the dye into it, and you actually saw the heart just kind of flutter. And
Oh
I
my
didn't know that was an
gosh.
actual thing. Yeah, I've seen, open heart surgeries and everything. So that's a wonderful thing to see and connect with our bodies. I've seen brain surgery, even, the aspects of the just how the tendons and synapses, like it all connects in there, and how you can see the coils on the brain, and all of our whole bodies is linked to imbalances, to hormones, to DNA. So if we don't know how to operate this thing we call our bodies, then we are going to be in trouble, basically. So we have to figure out what really makes us tick, what causes certain things, how do you feel in certain moments, and just really be aware. Awareness is the biggest key.
Wow. I'm so glad you brought up, excuse me, the broken heart syndrome. Because when I was writing my book, The Self Love Lessons, I was doing statistics on how women, how many women were dealing with stress and anxiety, depression, how many were suicidal, how many suicides had been committed versus attempted. And then I looked at the death rates. What's the leading cause of death? And heart disease is the leading cause of death and has been. It's been number one for decades. And when I stopped to think about it, it made me wonder, are we talking about like there's a defect in the heart, or is it that there's been trauma, that there's this is unforgiveness, This is bitterness. This is resentment, all the stuff, the stress that keeps us holding on to anger, holding on to hatred, holding on to those negative, low level, low vibration emotions. And that in and of itself is the heart dis-ease that ends up causing the heart to die. And so what do you say to that? What are
I
your
say that
thoughts on that?
you hit it right on the nail. I like how
Wow.
you put all of that in low vibration. I believe in, big in energies too. So all of that, the dis-ease, I believe in that as well. So yes. So the heart, the two factors I do know that are on the charts is suicide and heart disease.
Mm,
And many times in the Western world, they'll link it to heart disease of eating unhealthy, which plays a part into that. Of course, there's
mm-hmm.
people that are overeating. They tell us that we have to eat 3+ meals a day. We have breakfast, brunch, lunch, the meal before dinner. Like, I don't know what you
Right.
call that, and then dinner.
Right.
And then you have dessert. So,
Mm. 8
so you
times,
have
eat
all
all
the meals.
day.
Right, right. So you have all of this that you're doing and consuming, which can lead to heart disease on the Western side. So that does play a big role in that. But you have
Mhm.
the other side on the holistic side, which you talked about, of the broken heart, and also holding all those feelings and stress and the chemicals that go along with all of that stress that you hold in your heart and in your body, past traumas, not forgiving your parents, not fully letting go, having poor relationships. Maybe you're abused, you're with a husband that, you are on the verge of divorce, but you just can't leave. You're just holding those feelings in and the things that, you guys maybe have went through and you just can't seem to let go.
Mhm.
All of that is holding on inside of your heart. Like I said, your
Mm.
body is very smart. Just like DNA holds within your body is holding these chemicals and these stress factors, which you'll hear some people, I'll hear people come to me and say, my chest just feels so tight. And it's just really, it's just a feeling of tightness. When we do
Mhm.
all the tests come back negative.
Right.
So what do you say then? That means you're holding all these stress factors within your heart.
Mhm.
You have to figure out how to let go. What helps with that, which, people say, like the deep breaths, doing, the deep breaths
Mhm.
exercises. Personally, I have what we call a tongue drum. I like music.
Mhm.
So those tongue drums, or hang drums, you might call it, we play some of that. And it's very meditative. Or those singing,
Oh,
this
the singing
singing
bowls. Oh my
bowls, yeah, the
gosh,
singing
yes.
bowls, we have that as well. That helps with, some of those exercises. If you can, what I do is, I put like a mask over my eyes or a cloth, and I'll learn the positions of where the singing bowls are and just kind of play them with your eyes closed so you can really feel, the
Mm.
energy of that and feel the vibrations. And many times vibrations is what gets rid of that feeling within your chest and your heart. And coming
Mhm.
from the Western side, which I'm so glad I was in the medical field too, vibrations is what helps a dead person come back alive, right? You've seen those shows with CPR. The
Right.
shock factor in that. There's many times where they'll do what they call percussion in order to listen to where your lungs are or your organs are in your body. They'll do what we call this tap percussion. And based on the percussion, if we hear dullness or like a sharpness, we'll know where that organ is located.
Hmm.
So percussion and vibrations actually help heal the body. There's been studies, if you look, where cancer was actually healed with vibrations.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
And you think about Nikola Tesla, he said that when you want to think about the way the universe works, you have to think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. And
Hmm.
we've been programmed out of that in our culture. We want to put that in a new age bucket and say we can't look at that, we can't deal with that. But the truth is that God, the Almighty Creator, is who created this system. And he
Hmm.
knew that if we listen to a certain vibrational tone, it's
Hmm.
going to change things energetically around us and inside of us that can align and release the stuff that's holding on to us.
Hmm.
I um I had goodness gracious. Oh boy. I In my background, my body was going through a whole lot. My neck and shoulders got really tight, and it caused me where I couldn't turn to the left or right to drive. It pulled my spine out of alignment, caused 5 discs to rupture. I had all kinds of crazy stuff going on in my body. And it led me down a path to just really scouring to try to find answers to figure out what was going on in my body. Excuse me. And I had a team of doctors. They did all the tests. Nobody knew why. They just, it was stress. I now know it was related to my previous marriage. But and my choices inside of it, because I was betraying myself, and that self-betrayal will wreak havoc in your body. But when I started to learn about frequency, when I started to learn about sound, and how God created the whole universe with sound, he said, let there be light, and boom, light happened. And we can trace back with science to the Big Bang, that there was a moment in time when there was a boom and things happened, right? We don't realize that every single thing that God did, he embedded healing and restoration in it. And so why would we not look to what works?
That's
Why would
true.
we resist that? Well,
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
true.
money in it,
So
that
just,
part.
well, that too.
Right. The money's in the
Just
medicine.
just
Yeah.
hinting on the sound part that you just said, I
Yeah.
want to divert a little bit because vibration is sound. I don't know if you know, like, let's just say rapper DMX. Have you heard of,
Oh yeah.
that from back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, when you listen to his music versus, like his spiritual music, how do you feel? You're all worked up. You want to, nah, nah, he's talking like,
Right.
so there's many people before they commit a crime or something that,
Mm,
is a horrible act, they'll listen to this pump up music, and the music industry does a great idea of that because they understand sound and vibration. I don't remember exactly what the hertz is. I know it's in like the 400 something, versus 9, where they say that is really what people can hear. And that sound, it moves you to do certain things. So if they can
right.
put these sound qualities in the music, and it's having you have these certain type of feelings,
Yeah.
then move you. And that's when you want to go purchase that music even more, or either go do something you shouldn't do.
Right.
Times where you listen to music and you just burst out and cry, right?
Yes.
Sound is within there, and also the feelings, the emotions, what the person is singing about, all of that is within you. So even with my daughters, I don't allow them to hear or listen to certain types of music,
Right. Me
especially
either.
this new age music. That's all cut out. We don't even play the radio of
We don't either.
music. Yeah, so if we listen to something, it's something that I grew up with back in the 90s,
Right.
you
Right.
know. We're talking about love and being with each other and family.
Right. Yes.
Now the music nowadays is saying twerking and
All of that.
being with multiple men and
And
women,
drugs and all of it.
drugs and violence. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I'm glad we're talking about this whole music thing. I did a study when I was going through my healing, and I learned that the musical scale was shifted in the early 1900s from
Mhm.
one that was more resonant with our body's vibration to
Yeah.
one that's more dissonant. And so the
Mhm.
music can create that frustration in our bodies, like our beings are literally frustrated by the music. And
Mhm.
when you go back to the original solfeggio scale of music, the one that God created, that the
Mhm.
Gregorians used to use to chant, and they created all this beautiful
Mhm.
music that was healing. And music was used to heal. Think about that. But it can't be used to do that now. Now it's used to create disorder,
Yeah.
which brings a whole nother level of conversation. But anyway, we've talked so much today about so many things, and I'm really grateful for this conversation. I wanted to know how can the audience find you if they want to learn more about you and the work that you do? Where would they go?
So there's a landing page that we've created, which, as you said in my introduction, I am a broker in real estate and I am also in medical. So that landing page will encompass both of those, but it will be drclaircius.com. And also on that page is where I'll include those 10 tips. But like I said, I'll include more about the holistic medication, since you guys asked about that too, of where they can find that as well. So they can go directly to that landing page and get that information from there. And if they have any other questions, it has all my info on there to where they can email, myself or either my assistant, if they have any questions about anything.
Wonderful, wonderful. So thank you so much, Dr. Claircius. We appreciate you for sharing your wisdom. This was a great, insightful conversation. Do you have any last words you want to share with the moms?
Yes, so I actually wrote down something that I wanted to share with them. So, as girl moms, we know the importance of community, of lifting each other up and sharing our stories. Whether it's swapping parenting tips or offering a shoulder to lean on, we're in this together. Because no one understands the struggles and triumphs of motherhood quite like any other mom like us. So, to all the girl moms out there, I want to remind you you are strong, you're resilient, and you are enough. Embrace the messy moments, cherish the milestones, and never forget the incredible impact that you have on your little ones.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Ah, I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for that parting blessing. We receive that, and we will take this wisdom, and we will definitely click on the link so that we can get your tips and we can apply these. I'm gonna pull out my lemon and my peppermint, and I'm gonna think about how I can start to use opportunities to calm myself down, and then model that for my daughters so they can see how to do it, and not just me telling them, but they're actually looking at my example. When I'm recognizing I'm out of balance, I get to show them how to do it differently. So thank you so much, Dr. Claircius. We appreciate your help today, your insights, and your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, family. So take good notes. Make sure that you guys are deciding what you want to apply into your life after today's conversation, and take the steps. Give yourself some action items, put them in your calendar. Make sure that you walk it out so that we can see some transformation by the end of the month. All right. Y'all be blessed. I'm Queenie Brown. I'll see you all tomorrow. Talk soon. Bye bye. Hey, family. Oh my gosh. We went there today, right? That was so good. I enjoyed that conversation so much. Sorry about that. I enjoyed that conversation so much, but I wanted to touch on something that we discussed in it, and it was talking about the broken heart syndrome. So many people are walking around and living life with a broken heart, and we don't have to. There we get to heal, but healing requires us to take deliberate steps and make specific choices to walk towards that healing. We get to forgive. We get to allow ourselves to be released from the pain and the stress and the strain of the wounds that we're carrying. And we talked also about the fact that you're carrying not only yours, but it's your mom's wounds, your grandmother's wounds, everyone in your mother line. Those wounds are being passed down generationally. And so we have to be deliberate about our healing so we don't see it passed down to our daughters and then their daughters. We get to be the ones that say it stops with us. But in order for it to stop with us, we have to we have to decide, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to allow myself to heal. I'm going to be specific about the choices that I make towards getting and walking in my full healing. And so, if you are ready to take those steps, I'm here and I want to offer you some support. So, put I'm ready in the comments so that we can have a conversation. I have some free tips that I want to offer to you. In addition to what we're doing here in the Empowering Girl Mom Show, there's some more resources that I can make available to you, and I want to do that. So, if you're ready to begin your heart healing process, let's talk. All right, put I'm ready in the comments, and then I'll see you all on Monday for our final week of the Empowering Girl Mom Show. Next week is going to be fire. We have some great things planned. We have lots of speakers that are going to be coming. We're going to be doing some live speakers this coming week. We have a speakers roundtable. We have a teacher's sound off. And then we have a celebration day on Friday with the testimony. So make sure you are tracking, you are documenting your notes, and you're noticing the changes that are happening in your life up to now. All right. Thanks so much, y'all. I'll see you on Monday. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this with your friends, because friends don't let friends miss out. Also, go to my YouTube channel at The Queenie Brown, and you can binge the entire show. You can go back to the very beginning and catch all of the speakers. They have all been fire. I promise you, it will bless you if you've missed any of them. Okay. All right. You be blessed. Take good care. And I'll see you next week.